that reminds me of album covers, and a lot of stuff that reminds me of like horror movie stuff. I mean, it's not like Day of the Dead kind of stuff. Night of the Living Dead. That stark black and white kind of stuff. Not obviously not. You don't want the guy to go. Okay. After I make this statement, I'm going to move on to the next subject that I wanted to talk about because it's a perfect segue. So this is the statement. If you look at his stuff, he's not telling you what the subject is. He's not telling you a story. He shows you an image. It looks cool. And that's it. That's the end. You make your own story. So I'm looking at a bicyclist. He's obviously some older man. He's wearing a baseball cap and a windbreaker. He's on a bicycle, which obviously it looks like it doesn't have the crossbar, so it looks like a girl's bike with a basket in the front. And he's doing that same technique where it's smeared across the frame. Okay, so here's the thing. We talked about this probably on one of the first episodes. Visual storytelling. Now you and I both loathe that term because it's just the most elitist crap. It's the most pretentious thing you can say as a photographer. Visual storyteller. Here's the thing. Is it wrong, and we already talked about this, but I'm reiterating, is it wrong to simply make a cool image without predisposing it to telling a story? If you're shooting a single image and you present it, there's no other context, so it's almost impossible to tell a story, and I do that with the air quotes. It's almost impossible to tell a story with only one image. There's no lead up to it. There's no trail off. There's no context. There's nothing. It doesn't fit anywhere. It's simply an image, and that's it. And I think that lately what I've seen is a lot of photographers telling each other, you need to concentrate on the story. I don't have to concentrate on any story. I have to concentrate on creating an image that you're interested in looking at. You make your own story. I look at this guy. Yeah, I look at the bike. I go, okay, this dude's probably from, I know he's from Argentina, and I know they're in the middle of a recession right now because Leonardo told me that. So this guy's probably hasn't got two nickels to rub together. He got a hold of this bike. Doesn't matter what it looks like or how well it works, as long as it gets him from his house to work. And that's the story. This guy is probably on his way to work. He's got nothing in his basket, so he's not going, unless he's going to the grocery store. He may be going to the grocery store. He's not coming back from the grocery store because he's got nothing in his basket. But I make up my own story.
When you talked to him about his pictures, did he try to explain things about the pictures, or did he just talk about the way he shot them? Or
okay, that's one of the reasons why I liked what he was doing. He did not see. Okay, this one, it's called. He'll title sometimes. In fact,
and that's fine.
Yeah. Titling is completely fine.
Yeah. And you can title your pictures all you want.
Mm-hmm. In fact, however, you shouldn't say, old man rides his bike to the grocery store. You shouldn't do that. This particular piece is titled Rush Hour. Yeah, it's perfect. It fits with the...
It's like Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you what to think when you look at that picture. That's just the title.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It's a person's name. That's it. And we find out that her name isn't even Mona Lisa, but whatever. But we don't find that out until 500 years later, so nobody really cares. But this guy,
I mean, she wasn't famous for anything other than posing for that picture.
Yeah, and that's right. And 500 years later, we're still looking at her.
Yeah.
500 years. People only think we know what Leonardo da Vinci looks like, but that face we know. Everybody knows that face. Everybody knows it. Mm-hmm. Okay, a lot of the stuff that I've noticed he doesn't even title. And one of the things, though, that in fact, almost nothing is titled, except that's the only picture so far I've seen that actually has a title. But what I do like is that he doesn't list all the crap that he used. On a rare occasion he will, but I don't usually see that. What I'll see is well, sometimes I'll see that in like comments. Like somebody will ask, what did you use, or what is that? You know, how did you do that? And he'll tell you. You know, that's the thing. You're shooting pictures. Somebody asks you, how did you do that? Then they're interested in what you're doing. There's no reason why you shouldn't tell them what you're doing. But you post a photo, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't matter, and you don't even title it or say anything about it. All you do is list the shit that you own. That's it. The only reason you're doing that is because you want people to think you're cool. That's the only reason you're doing that. Because the camera that you used, the lens you used, the film or the post-processing software that you used is irrelevant to the audience. The only thing that matters to them is the end product. The only other people that are interested in your list of shit is another photographer that is in the same headspace as you, or somebody who wants to copy what you did. That's the only reason anybody needs to know what you did. You call me up, you text me up after, you see a picture that you like. Hey, where was that? I'll totally tell you. How'd you do that? I'll tell you that too. What camera did you use? I can tell you that if you have one, but there's thousands of cameras out there. So it's pretty pointless to ask me what camera I'm using, because if you don't own it, how likely are you to go out and buy it?
Well, here's my thing about it. Even if it was like, hey, what lens did you use? Because, I can afford to go out and buy that. Who cares? Every lens is different. You could buy 100 of the exact same lens and you have 100 different pictures. There's no way to manufacture them all perfect. Glass changes dramatically from one to the next.
Yeah, plus you have to account for wear. If a guy, one guy treats his lens like it's his baby, and another guy treats it like it's just, whatever. Oh, I'll break that one or just get another one. So if you buy it used, by the time especially if you're shooting film like he is, or like Leonardo does, you're shooting film, none of your lenses are going to be new. So every lens is going to have a different amount of wear on it. So you're never going to get exactly the same thing. That's almost imperceptible. And anybody who says that they can tell the difference is BSing you. But still, the lens itself is not going to be the same.
Well, I sent you a picture earlier today of the new lens I got in.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you something. This thing is going to be scratched up within a year.
Okay, it's got the bubble. Or you telling me you're going to beat the crap out of it?
It's going to get the crap beat out of it because of the pictures I want to take.
Okay.
Dude, I can get within a half inch of something and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to give me a wider angle than the human eye can see.
Well, yeah, I saw an infographic that gave you the angle of a different lens. Like the lens, the 28 that I'm using has like a 70. Yeah, it has like a 70-degree angle of view.
Yeah.
A 50 and the standard that we see is between a 35 and a 50. That's why they call those standard lenses. Right. Those are around, it's around 50 degrees, 45 to about 50, 60 degrees. So 28 is about a 70. A 24 is about a 90-degree angle. And then it actually blows past 100 degrees. I mean, with a fisheye, you could probably get almost, did you know what the angle is? Do you know what the angle on that is? On a 6.5 fisheye?
I'm sure I could look it up. It's a popular enough, it's like the Nifty 50.
Yeah.
A lot of people buy this thing because it's cheap, and I mean, let's be honest, but for what it actually does, you're not going to go out and spend $1,000 on a Canon one, unless you're a pro photographer.
Yeah, you're not. Well, here's the thing. Go ahead.
I'm sure I can find all the specs on it because it's just that popular of a lens. Like I said, I bought it used on eBay for $72. It came to me like it was brand new.
Okay.
But
that's nice.
It runs about $138 new.
Okay. Yeah.
Between 138 and 164 is what I found.
Okay. Yeah. See, I was out looking for fish eyes, and ultra wide angles, and for the two, I have 3 mounts technically, which would be the Sony FE. And I don't know if they even make a fisheye. They probably do, and if they do, it's probably $1,000. The Canon FD, and here's the thing about an FD. I can get a 50, I can get a 28, I can get a 135, for like frickin' $50. Okay?
Right.
But a 24 is going to cost me a minimum $200. And when I start moving into like a 14 or something like that, now, 350 to $400. Those particular lenses are extremely expensive, so that's out of the question. However, I did find a third-party Japanese maker called Samyang. That also Rokonin. It's Samyang / Rokonin. They make a 14 millimeter. For about $250. So I think probably when I get my tax return, I think I'm going to grab that 14 millimeter. Oh, what I was going to say about the fisheye is, and I read a couple reviews on people that use fisheye. That depends. That's just their opinion. And as we know, opinions don't really have a lot of value. But what they were saying was fisheyes are really cool, but then the novelty wears off because you can't use it for like everything. But I think, right, which is fine. But here's what I've noticed. Since I started using my 28, I kind of like it. And now what happened is when I would import them into Lightroom automatically applied lens correction, and I didn't know that. So I shot some headstones that weekend right after we talked about this, and I figured out accidentally that Lightroom is putting lens correction on this. When I took it off, then I could see the lens distortion. So the thing is, normally, under normal circumstances, you probably want lens correction on your lenses. But for what we're doing, at least until next week, we don't want that. We want the lens distortion. We want the barrel distortion. That's what we're looking for. We're trying to accentuate the lens distortion that a wide angle and an ultra wide angle gives you. Fisheye, on the other hand, it's going to be practically impossible to put a lens correction. I don't even know why you would want to, but Lightroom apparently assumes that you want lens correction, and it doesn't.
You have to go in and shut it off.
Yeah, you do. If you want,
it's an automatic thing as opposed to.
Yeah. You have the option of turning it. There's a checkbox. You have the option of turning it on and turning it off. But
it's automatically on when you turn it on.
Yeah, it seems like the default is on. I don't know. There's a lot of like ways of customizing that program. So I imagine that there's probably a way I could go in there and find the the setting, the import settings, and I'll bet when I go in there there'll be a profile that it'll say, remove chromatic aberration, apply lens correction, use this profile for color saturation, use this curve, just that kind of thing. I'll bet it's in there somewhere. And I may find it, but it's not that much of a big deal because the only thing that I'm taking the lens correction off of is the things that I know have long, straight vertical lines and I want that curvature. So I'm not taking it off of everything because otherwise, every time you try to shoot if you use your 28 to shoot like a large, expansive, vista or a mountain range or something like that, from a distance, or some kind of landscape, it would, if you had any, vertical lines, you would pick up that curvature. So, so normally I would think that you would want lens correction on it. But in this instance, we don't want that because we want to see the lens distortion. So anyway, to get back, what I was really talking about was that I like the 28 and I like see, I'm used to the 50 and you have to be like way close, to fill your, and I'm not an advocate of fill the frame because I'll crop it, I don't give a shit. But the thing is that you have to get a lot closer to get, to fill the frame on a 28 It doesn't seem like it should be that difficult, but it really is. The other thing is like converging lines. Like I have a